and welcome to another of Mrs. Patnell's phonics lessons. This is for my group 2, so we are learning the phase 3 sounds and the tricky words that come with it. Okay, so this morning we have a new sound to learn. Now, strangely enough, I have 2 flashcards for this new sound. They both look exactly the same, and they're written exactly the same. But if I flip over the backs here like this, you can see that this one has a book on the back and this one has a moon on the back. And that's because this particular sound can be made in 2 different ways, okay? It's super easy to write. It's the letter O and then an O. Or if we're using their letter names, the letter O and then another O. So it's really easy to write, a bit like the E sound because they're the same letter twice. So it's easy to remember. But the trickier thing is, it can be a short sound or it can be a longer oo sound, okay? So it can be like someone has just popped you in the stomach, or it can be a longer sound like ooh, I like those shoes. So we've got the longer sound in moon, ooh, and then in book, you got the shorter one. Can you hear it? It's b, k. So this sound can be made in 2 ways. So the long ooh in moon, or the short as in book, okay? So although nice and easy to write, you have to remember that it can make 2 sounds, okay? A bit like our and our sound. You got to remember which one it is. Now the best way to say, my best advice for this is when you're reading, try one of them first, then maybe try the long one first in the word, and if it doesn't sound right, then try the short one and see which one sounds best and makes the most sense, okay? So that's the best plan at this point, all right? So that's our new sound of the day. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's go through some of the flashcards of the sounds we already know. So we have this one. We have this one, shh, and this one, qu, qu, and this one is the softer sound with our tongue poking out further, or bring your tongue back in a little bit and say We have the sound we learnt, I believe yesterday, I think, which is okay, remember we've been our strong person, lifting our weights and saying and you're sort of squeezing your nose together to make the sound with your mouth open. And this one, get out your vans and this one with the dot on the top but the loop at the bottom. And this one. This one, take out your yellow yogurt and say yee. Yeah. And this one. These 2 when they're together, what sound do they make? Cup your ear and say A. And we got a trigraph, 2 letters making 1 sound. What sound does this one make? This is our action, and we say I, as in I, Captain. These 2 together, the same letter, but when they're together, they make the E sounds. So put up those donkey ears and say E. This one, z, z. And this one that goes down, up, and down, up again. Bring that long pointy face and say ooh. Right, that's all of our phase 3 sounds. Let's do a quick flash of some phase 2 because I don't want you forgetting what they look like. So we've got b, b, b. We've got d, d. P, p. Excuse me. Let's go for 2 more. K, k, k. And I, I. Apologies for the sun coming in on the video. It's a little hard, but as long as you can see the flashcards, that's the best thing. Okay, so there's some phase 2s we've gone back to visit. Let's pop our phase 3s over there. Let's go back to our sound of the day, which can be the short like you've been popped in the belly, or the long ooh, like ooh, I like those shoes. So or ooh. The actual action is to pretend you're like a cuckoo clock and to go ooh, ooh, with your head backwards and forwards like a cuckoo coming out of a clock. Ooh, So the short and the long oo. We'll have a quick go at writing it. It's super easy because it's the same letter and also quite an easy letter to write. But let's do it on our boards just so we can feel ourselves writing it and recognise it. So we have the letter O if we're using its name, followed by another O. There we are, and that's our oo sound. So you would see it if I'm giving you sound cradles. We have a line under both of them because it is a digraph. So no longer the sound if you see them together. Okay, they will be the or the oo sound. Okay, oh, still when they're on their own, but when they are with their friends, then it's or oo. Right, okay. Let's revisit a couple of sounds. Let's have a go at revisiting the sh sound. Sh. So what comes first in the sh digraph? There are two letters because it's a digraph making one sound. Try and think about that flashcard. What two letters make the sh sound? Hopefully you have written on your board the s followed by the h. Or if we use their letter names, the letter S followed by the letter H, and that is the sh sound. Okay, let's also revisit, let's revisit the A digraph, A. What two letters make the A digraph? Have a think about that flashcard when we say A. Can you think of one of the letters is really good, if not both of them? It is the letter A, if we're using letter names, followed by the letter I to make the A sound. Okay, if you've got that, well done, your memory is cracking. And last of all, let's have a go at doing y, y. So you're going to whoosh up like the letter A, but don't forget to loop underneath, and there is your y. Right, okay, let's move on. Now, we're going to have a go at playing sound buttons now. So I'm going to write some words on my board, flash them to you. I will put the sound buttons and cradles on for you so you get really used to seeing those digraphs. So when you see the straight line underneath two letters, remember it's not the single sounds, it's going to be a digraph now, okay? So you've got to remember what sound that digraph makes at phase 3. So our first one, and it will contain the sound of the day. So remember, have a go at reading it with the short sound first, and if it doesn't sound right, put in a long oo sound and see which one makes the most sense. Okay, our first word for sound buttons is this one. I flash that to you. You can see there's 3 sounds, a single sound, a digraph, and a single sound. So have a go at blending that. And I'm going to go for it with you now. We've got ooh, k. So it's the short on this one. Ooh, k. Ooh, k. Look. So if you got look right, pat on the back for you. Next one for sound buttons. Let's go with this one. Single sound, digraph, single sound. Let's have a look at that. So what have I got there? Have a go at blending it yourself. I'm going to go through it with you. We've got the single sound. We've got the sound of the day. T, foot. It's your foot. Absolutely well done if you blended that as well. That sound of the day is popping up in these as promised. Right, let's go for this one. We have a single sound followed by a digraph, followed by a single sound. Have a look at that one. Have a go at blending it. So we have got B, sound of the day, k, b, k, book. There it is, making the short sound again, as it just did in foot and look. Okay, let's go with this one. Single sound, followed by a digraph, followed by a single sound. There you go. Have a go at blending this one. And now we're going to do it together. We've got g, d, g, d. Good. Okay, now if we tried the long one first, we'd have g-ood. Good, and you might think to yourself, good, I don't think that's any word I know. So that's when you try the short one, good, good. Ah, that makes more sense. So that's how you'll do it. You can test one out, and if it doesn't sound right, test the other one out. Okay, so the and the oo sound. Let's try this one. single sound followed by a digraph followed by a single sound. Here we go, sound of the day is in there again. So you have a go at blending it by yourself, and then we're going to do it together. Took. I took the bus into town. Took. So there it is, making the short sound again. If you'd blended it with the long sound, took, you might think, that doesn't sound right. Then try the short one and realise it's took. Okay, try this one. Single sound and a digraph. Only 2 sounds to work out in this one. Have a go at blending it. Okay, now if we use the short we would get t. I don't know any word t, so then I might try the long sound. T, two. I have got a puppy too. There we are. So it's now making the long sound in that word. Let's try this one. Here it comes. Another single sound followed by a digraph. Here we go. Have a look at that. And then we're going to blend it together. We've got z, oo, zoo. If we tried it with a short one, z. Not quite right. So then you think, hang on a minute, let's try it with a long one. Z, oo, zoo. There we are. Right, we're nearly at the end of my list of sound buttons. Let's go with this one. So it's got a digraph in the middle. I think you'll probably find it's the digraph of the day. Have a look at that one. Okay, we're going to blend it together. Boot. 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 It's the long one again. Boot. If you got that one right, fabulous. You are doing marvellously well with the sound of the day. Let's go with this one. I want you to get a good idea of them with the short sound and the long sound, the short and the long oo. Have a go at blending this one. So we've got ood, ood, food. And last one for you. Let's go with single sound, digraph, single sound. There it is. Have a look at that. You could try the short sound first. Oof, oof, oof. Sounds a bit like it should be the long sound. Oof, oof, hoof. Like you're having a horse. My horse has hurt its hoof. Okay, excellent. Well done with the sound of the day. It's very nice to write. It's kind of easy to read, isn't it? It's not too tricky to get that and oo sound out. Right, I'm going to show you some sentences now, and then that's the end of today's lesson. I'm keeping them quite short because we're leading up to half term and we've had a busy 5 weeks. So we're just going to move on to sentences. And then if you're feeling particularly like you're full of energy, you can have a go at writing one of these sentences after the lesson. Okay. Right, so I'm going to bring this up now. Unfortunately, these are a bit small, so I'm going to bring it right up to the camera because I've printed these off at home and I haven't got an A3 printer, so it's a little bit small, but there we go. I brought it up to the camera. Have a good look at it. Check to see if it's a good sentence. Does it have a capital letter? Yes, it does. Does it have finger spaces in between each word? Yes, it does. And is it punctuated at the end of the sentence? Yes, with a full stop. Okay, now remember this isn't the word I because it's followed by other letters in the word. So it's just making the is sound, but it's a capital one. So have a go at blending that sentence. And now I'm going to do it with you. So it is fun, tricky word to, tricky word go, tricky word to. It is fun to go to, tricky word the. This is a tricky sentence, isn't it? And then at the bottom here, oh look, the sound of the day, zoo, zoo, zoo. It is fun to go to the zoo. What a sentence full of tricky words. Okay, let's have a look at this sentence as well. Lovely capital letter, lovely finger spaces, and it's punctuated with a full stop. Pause the video, have a go at reading that one. It's going to have some other sounds that we've learnt this week as well. So we've got I tricky word go, tricky word to, tricky word the. I go to the moon in a Now here is, and I don't know if I had this one in my flashcards. This is the digraph we learnt the other day, made with the O and the A, or if we use their letter names, the O and the A, and together they make the O sound. So boat, boat. I go to the moon in a boat. Oh, that's rather unusual, isn't it? Okay, let's flip out to our last one here. Have a good look at this. Do the usual check. Does it have capital letters? Does it have finger spaces? Is it punctuated at the end of the sentence? Okay, now pause the video and have a go at reading by yourself, as I'd like you to. And now we're going to do it together. It's a capital T, so I need to remember that although it looks different to my flashcard, it is still T, H, E. So we have to poke our tongue out and say the tricky word the, f, o, f, o. It's a tricky one to say, that one. Foal, foal. The foal had a pain in its his hoof. So we've got the sound of the day there, and we've got the O sound here as well, and the A sound. So lots of digraphs in this sentence. Now, foal is a baby horse, in case you were wondering. So the foal had a pain in his hoof. Okay, now I think that if you're feeling particularly full of energy today, and as that was quite a short lesson, you probably are, how about you have a go at writing, I go to the moon in a boat. Let's count how many words you need to write for that. I go to the moon in a boat. So 8 words in total. So you know you're looking for 8 words, so you don't miss any out. And if you can say it over and over to yourself as you're writing it, you won't forget some of those smaller, trickier words. So I go to the moon in a boat. Don't forget to punctuate the end of your sentence. And of course to give it a nice capital letter at the beginning. So I go to the moon in a boat. If you're in my class, can you post it onto Tapestry? I love to see your full sentences. It makes my day. And I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.